Hello everyone, this is Professor DK and welcome back to another episode. So in the previous episode, we completed the login and the registration activity. And in this episode, we'll be seeing how we can control the device after discovering the devices on our Wi-Fi network. So let's jump into Android Studio without wasting any more time.
Okay, so once the home is created, if you can scroll down to the bottom to see what are the different things that you can do with this particular home manager instance. But we have created our home, and I am only interested in getting the devices that are there here. So for that, you can just go over to device pairing, and under device pairing, you will see that there are different features that are supported. So there's Wi-Fi pairing that you can do. There is access point. You also have other protocols like Zigbee that is supported. There is device pairing in wired mode, etc. And I'll be going with the Wi-Fi Easy Connect. So this is the mode I'll be using. It just detects all the devices in your same network and allows you to control it. Okay, so we'll use that. And yeah, you are free to explore this. So click on through Easy Connect, and that will tell you how you can do that. And it explains the process. But yeah, this is what I'm interested in. And here you'll notice that we'll need an activator builder, and this uses an activator instance, right? So we need to create this, and here once the thing is successful, you get the device response, the devices that are connected. Okay, so as simple as that. And you will see that it requires the token for pairing, and to get the registration token we'll need to call this particular function. Okay, so first we'll need to obtain the token, and once the token is available we can then call the activator builder with this token to get the devices on the system. So you can go through this SDK to understand more, but I just want to tell you how you can develop the app by looking at this. So let's go here and develop the code. All right. So let's create a function to get the token firstly. Okay, and let's call Tuya home SDK dot get. We need the activator instance, right? We saw it on the page. So, and we need the activator token, and click on that. And you can see that it requires the first parameter as the home ID, right? So home ID is there in the home bean that we just obtained here. So you can just do long home ID is equal to current home bean dot get home ID. Okay, and this will give you the home ID. So you can add that parameter here. And the second parameter is the, if you see here, it takes the I2A activator get token instance. So I'll just do new and then call that, and you'll get this. So once the token is obtained, what you want to do is you want to call this particular function, and this is the search operation itself, right? So you can create another function called private void, and you can call it as init config device or search devices. Okay, we can call it as search devices, and then it will take the parameter of token, right? We need the token to actually initiate the communication. So uh, once we are here, we send this token to this particular function, and then we start the search for our devices. So uh, M2 activator, we need to create an activator instance, right? So we need that here. So we need an activator instance. So for that, let's go ahead and create it here. So I2 activator, and I'm going to call this as Tuya activator. And inside this, you just call new, not new actually, Tuya home SDK dot get activator instance dot new multi activator, and inside this just call new activator builder. And this will basically take in certain parameters, so just click on enter here. Dot set SSID. Okay, and you'll need to set the SSID. Now there are a couple of things you can do here. So basically, you can either hard code the SSID and the password of your Wi-Fi. SSID is nothing but the name of your Wi-Fi, and password is the password of your Wi-Fi, right? And either you could create another activity, get the input from the user of the Wi-Fi configurations, and then come to this activity, or you can hard code it. And for simplicity, I guess you understand how you can do that. So I'm just going to add it here for simplicity directly, right? So I can just add the SSID here. So I'm just going to use the hotspot of mine, and okay, so SSID and password have been created. So set SSID to SSID, then dot set password, set the password, make sure it's all aligned here. And then we also need to set the context, and that will be this, which is nothing but this activity dot set activator model, and we'll be going with the ty underscore easy. Okay, so this is the easy connect model, like I mentioned, the Wi-Fi one. And then you have the timeout, and you can set the timeout to probably something like 1000, and set token, and you will pass the token that we received. And then finally we'll do set listener new Tuya smart home listener. Okay, so what happens is, once you have configured the device and the search starts, it is going to give us the device list here. So device bean will have the information of the devices that are connected. All right, and here you can add in a toast. There's a failure. Device detection successful, and let's actually create our device bean as well, a local variable. So private device bean, current device bean, and here you will need to set the current device bean to the received device response. Okay, so whatever the response is, this will have the list of devices that are connected, and you can then do something with that. All right, and here you can have a switch case here, where whenever there's any detection, you can get uh, some input, right? So obviously it helps to know that something is happening. So okay, so just type in activator easy step code dot device bind success. So whenever it's a success, we can just display some toast. I'm just going to copy this. So this will tell us if the device binded successfully. Okay. So device bind successful, and then add a break statement, obviously, and then you also put it like this. And then again we have another activator easy step code dot device find. So whenever a device is found, you can also put a toast message saying that okay, found device, right? That's also helpful. So you can put new device found successfully, new device found. Okay, so that's the other thing. All right, so one thing to note is this is actually configuring the device, but and this is just the listener, right? You need to actually start this instance to actually start the process of searching. So how do we do that? So before that, I see that there's a semicolon missing to do that. So we want to start the search only when the search button is clicked, right? So for that, just click on button search dot set on click listener, new on click, just type in on and you will get the autocomplete options. And this is where you want to actually start the search. You can just do tuya activator dot start and that will start the search. Okay. Now one thing to note is, since we do not have any other button to stop, we could use the same button to actually stop searching, right? So what we'll do is we will create current text of the button. Let's get the current text of the button to see what it is and create an inverse logic. Okay. So getting the current string, and first thing is before we actually start the tuya activator, we need to check if it is null or not. So if it is null, obviously throw an error, right? So you don't really need to do anything. Just need to throw an error saying that Wi-Fi configuration is probably in progress, right? Because uh, the tuya activator is created here and it might take some while before it actually comes to this function. So let's say Wi-Fi config in progress, and if it is not null, obviously you need to check if you want to start the search or you want to stop the search. So for that, if current text is dot equals ignore case search devices, so this is one option, and when it search devices, you start the activator, else you stop the activator. Okay, so simple logic, but make sure that once you click on start, you obviously need to say, the button should say stop, right? So that way you can stop it as well in between. So let's add stop search, and we need to do the same in the other side as well. So whenever it is stop search and you click on it, it should stop and it should also change the text to search devices. So hopefully this is clear, but if not, once the app is actually running, you'll get to know what exactly I'm doing here. All right. So we have created our home, and once the home is created, we have taken the information from the home and then we are using it to get the registration token, right? So but it's not really called, so we need to call get registration token as soon as the home creation is successful. So call that, and inside get registration token, once the token is received, you can then config the device or start the search. So search devices and then pass in the token. Okay, so it's like a flow. It's an asynchronous flow. You create the home, then you get the token. Once the token is obtained, you then call search devices, which takes that token and then start search for the devices. But the device search actually starts only when the button search device is clicked. Okay, because this is where the activator is started. And once the activator is started, the listener is actually going to listen to the changes, and whenever it obtains a device, the step function is going to activate and it's going to tell you that a new device was found. And once it's found, it will come to the active success, where you can obtain the device that has been detected. Okay. Now we need to create another activity where we'll be able to control the device itself. So for that, let's call start activity. Let's call that other activity as device control dot class. Okay. Right now it's not created, so I'm just going to comment it off. Okay, so now that we have completed this activity, we can now go ahead and create a new activity. I'm going to choose new activity, empty activity, and in this we're going to call this as device control, right? So that's the name we have given here. So device control activity, and click on finish. Okay, so once the activity is completed, we are going to go to the layout, and first thing is we'll add a text view here. Okay, so I have completed the layout here. So you can see that here I have a couple of labels, which is device name, adjust brightness, set scene, and set work mode. So these are normal text views. We don't really need to do anything on this. It's just a placement of a label. So that's why I've declared this as label device name. And you will see that it's slightly bigger, and the text sizes have been adjusted, and some of them have been adjusted, and also some color has been added, right? So I've added some color, and also there is some font that's slightly added to each one of them. You can play around with the settings here. You will find a lot of parameters here under the attributes tab, which you can work with and create your own layout here. But I just wanted to mention these are just the labels. And then coming to this particular smart light text view here, so this is something that we'll be actually controlling, in the sense that based on the device that we discover, this is going to change. So if I discover a bulb from Wipro, it's going to show Wipro bulb. And then we have the bulb status, which is a switch, right? So I just dragged a switch, and it comes with a text with itself. And yeah, you click on this, and it basically sets the bulb to on or off. And then you have a seek bar. A seek bar is nothing but a slider, and you can set the range. So I have set the max brightness of uh, this particular slider. You can see here that under attributes, the max is set to 1000, and the increments are actually set to 10. And where do I set the increment? So you can see the progress attribute here. So if you put it as 10, then it will increment in the order of 10 up to the max value. All right. And finally, I have a spinner here, and this is, you can just search here for a spinner, and spinner is nothing but a drop down list, right? So I click on it, and it's going to give me a drop down list on the different scenes available. I can click on it, and that scene will be applied onto the smart bulb. And similarly, I have another spinner for the work mode to set if it is reading, casual, or any other work mode, right? So this is another spinner, which is basically a drop down list as well. So I've added it. And also note that I have given a unique ID for each of these text views. So this basically is TV device control name, that's the ID. And then for the status, I have SW status. Since this is a switch, I've given the prefix as SW. And then for the seek bar, since it's a seek bar, I've given it as SB brightness. So this is SB brightness, seek bar brightness. And then for the spinner here, I've set it to SP scene, spinner scene. And then for the work mode, it is SP work mode. Okay. So this is how the layout looks like. And make sure that when you are constraining them, you constrain it on all four sides like I've done here. And the topmost part will basically be constrained to the previous widget. So here in this case, this is constrained to this, and the first one is actually constrained to the parent layout. So the next one will actually go to the topmost part of it, and then the previous one, and then the previous, and then so on and so forth, right? So hopefully you all were able to complete this layout, and I know I've been slightly going faster with this because we have a lot of cover. All right. So going into the device control.activity file, we need to uh, basically first see what all widgets we need to declare, and we have 1 2 3 4 5, so we need to declare 5 variables, and for that I'm going to. All right. Now you must be wondering, why did I create this layout in this manner, and how did I choose what functionalities this should have, right? So for this, you can actually come over to the API guide, right? So like I mentioned, under the SDK list, you can go over to the lighting SDK. Since our application currently is lighting, you need to check this out. But in case you're doing something else, if it's a sweeper or a smart lock, you can check the guide for that and get the appropriate function. So in my case, since it's lighting SDK, I'm just going to open that up, and you'll notice the functions that come with this, right? So if you scroll down, and you can check the function list here at the left hand side, and if you scroll, you can see the different type of functions. So you have a power switch, you have work mode, brightness, color temperature, color, HSV, and scene, right? So I have covered the switch, work mode, brightness, and the scene. And if you want to implement the color temperature, basically since it's an RGB bulb, you could create the color picker here. So you can add a color picker which will allow you to select the colors, and based on the colors, that the color will actually get set to the bulb. Okay. So I've not done that because it'll get slightly complicated, but definitely you can think of that as a homework that you can try on your end. All right. So that's how I have developed my layout, by looking at the functionalities that are available. So we'll go ahead and do whatever we have been doing previously, of initializing the views and binding each of the variables with their IDs in the layout. Okay, so next, once the layout is loaded, you need to add the different options to the list here into the spinner, right? Since it's a drop down, you need to populate the list. So for that, we'll create a string array, and the different items, or you could call this as scenes, is equal to, and inside the string array, we are going to pass goodnight. And I'll tell you why I'm actually passing these values as well. So you can see here, in the scene, you can set it to 4 different things. So one is good night, work, read, and casual. And for that, I'm putting it this way. Uh, so casual and read, right? So these are different options. Now, when it comes to work modes, different work modes of white, color, and scene. Okay, so you have 3 different work modes. So we have defined our string arrays. Now, how do we populate our spinner, right? So for that, we need an array adapter, and we will call this array adapter as scene adapter for the scenes, new array adapter, and inside this, you provide the context, and second, you can provide the default layout, and then the items in the listing. So for that, you can just pass in r.layout.simple spinner drop down item. So this is the default layout that Android powers. You can use that itself, and then finally you need to pass the items that the array adapter will take. Okay, so you have created your first array adapter, and now let's create the second array adapter, and then call work modes. Alright, and now we have to pass this to our spinner adapter, and that is nothing but sp scene and sp work mode, right? So you can sp scene dot set adapter, and then you just pass in the scene adapter, and similarly for the work mode you can just sp dot set adapter, and then it's the work mode adapter. All right, so we have set the adapters. Now one thing is, I mentioned that the device name needs to be set. So when I come into this activity, I want the device name to be set. So how do I get the device name, right? Because when the activity is loaded, I don't really have the information of the device name, and the device name is actually in the previous activity where we actually searched the devices and got the device here, right? So it's in this current device bean that has the device name, right? So here, let me show you what all is available. So current device bean, if you just put a dot in front of it, you can see the device ID, you get uh, the data points, you also get the icon URL for that particular device, you also get lat, long, name of the device, the product ID, UUID. I mean, so basically you get a couple of information that if needed, you could print it out and display it on the GUI. That's up to you. But how do I pass this information on to the next activity, right? So for this, there's something called as a bundle, and it comes in handy. That's what comes in handy, when you want to pass information from one activity to another. Okay, so once the current device bean is loaded, we are not going to go into the next activity from here, right? We want the user to actually click on the card view, and once the card view is clicked, then only go to the next activity. Okay, so let's remove this and we'll add it to the card view listener. So I've not yet added that, so I'm going to add it right after the btn search. So cv device dot set on click listener, new on click listener. Okay, now if you remember, the card view listener was actually set to clickable false and the background color was set to light gray, right? So we need to change this once the devices are detected. So here you need to put cy device dot set clickable to true, and also cv device dot set background color to white. Okay, so this will basically tell us that now the device is available and now you can click on this, and we are going to remove this line and we are going to take this and add it into our card view listener. Okay, so here we are going to go to the next device control activity. But note that we also want to pass information between the two activities. So for that, we have something called as a bundle, and you can think of this as bundle of information, right? So the whole idea of a bundle is to send information as key value pairs between the activities, and the way you do it is, so you create a bundle first and then you put string, and the first is the device ID, right? We want to send the device ID, the device name, and the product name, or whatever it is. Like, you can send in any information that you want from one activity to another. I'm just going to show you how you can send probably three things here. So current device bean dot dev ID. So this is the first string, product ID. Okay, so we have put three different things, and how do I actually send this bundle into the next activity, right? So for that, you will actually need to use the intent itself. So let's create the intent is equal to new intent, and here we'll need to pass home activity dot this to device control activity dot class. Okay, we have created our intent, and now with the intent we have something called as a put extras. Okay, and you can see here that under put extras you can pass in a bundle. Okay, and we are going to do just that. Okay, so we are passing a bundle, and we need to remove this line. So we have to start activity, and we are now going to pass this particular intent that we just created right now. Okay, so created the intent, we pass the bundle into the intent as an extra data that we are sending, and then you start the activity. Okay, so we have sent it. Now how do I actually get that information back in this particular uh, activity, right? So for that, first thing is check if the bundle is not equal to null, right? So for that, you have to obtain the bundle here. Let's obtain the bundle as first thing here. So bundle is equal to get intent dot get extras. Okay, so this is how you get the bundle from the previous activity. Okay, so it will, once the activity is created, it's going to check the intent, get the extras if there are any information available with that. So it's going to do this, and we are going to check if it is not equal to null. Okay, and if it is not equal to null, obviously that means that it has something, and that something is nothing but the dev id, right? So let's create our strings here. So dev id, dev name, and then the prod id, right? So these are the three different information that if needed you can display, but in our case we are only going to do the dev name. Okay, so dev id is equal to bundle dot get, and in this you have to uh, pass get string, since it was a string, right? You have to pass the same key name as you passed here, right? So copy this, go here and then paste it here, and do the same for dev name as well. Okay, so once we have received it, obviously you can then set the device name, right? So set device name, and it is going to use the dev name. Okay, now in case the bundle is null, then basically you are setting it to whatever we have here. It will just show smart light, but just know that you will never be able to come into this function unless you find a device, right? Because the card view is not really clickable until the device is found. So yeah, this probably the null condition will never happen. Okay, so the next thing is we actually have to interact with the device. So now that we have the device id, we can now actually control the device, and for that you need to use the i2yard light device. So we have not yet integrated the light sdk, so now we have to integrate the light sdk. So for that, go back to your blog again, and we need to add a couple of things. So here we need to add some dependencies for the light SDK. So let's go over to the app dependencies and add them at the bottom here. Okay, and you can remove the home SDK dependency, because that's already added previously, right? So you can just remove that. So yeah, that central control is what you need. So you can add that and then click on sync now. And the next thing is, apart from this, you'll need to add a couple of other dependencies, because this library has been compiled in Kotlin. So we need to add this thing in the build script, again in the build.gradle file. Okay, so not this one, sorry, the project level. So add that, and then you need to add under dependencies the class path with that particular Kotlin version. And also apart from it, you need to apply the plugin, and this is in the app level dependency. So just add, before dependencies, just add apply plugin, and then add this dependency again at the bottom. All right, so this is how you add the dependency for the light SDK. And then you can see that they have provided the different functions that you can use to actually control the device, right? If you go to the bottom, uh, this is how you actually obtain the device instance itself. So uh, here, yeah, so the new device instance is here. If you give the device id, you then can send commands to that particular device. Okay, So now that we have added everything, click on sync now, and then once the sync is complete, you will be able to use the eye to your device, the lighting SDK library as well. Okay, so here at the bottom you have light control. So we'll be using this. So we want to create a eye to your light device, and then we can use different functions like the scene, the power switch, etc. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so now that it is complete, I'm going to add eye light to your device. So uh, and I'm going to call this variable as control device, right? So this is where we are. Okay, so new this should be new to your light device. All right, and to import the library again, import alt enter. Okay, so you have created your eye to your device now, and the next thing you want to do is register a listener. Okay, so I'll tell you why this is important. So control device dot register light listeners. Okay, so I've added the eye light listener. And what this is actually going to do is whenever there's a network change, in the sense that if the product actually goes offline, you can then change the status of your device here. So let's say it was on, and if you receive feedback that it's off, you can set the you know switch to off, or the brightness to something else if it has been changed from some other source, right? So you can do all of that. And coming to the control aspect of it itself, so what you want to do is when the switch status is uh, clicked, right? So we want to do an on checked change listener. Okay, and whenever there's a change, what you want to do is just call light device, your control device dot power switch, and the boolean is nothing but the status. So do you want to set it to on or off? And we are just going to use is checked. So based on the check status, you can do that, and then you have to pass in a result callback. So I'll just call in new I result callback, and in the success, yeah, you could either say okay, light switch successful or something like that. But yeah, you can do any of that. So here, this is the function I was talking about. So this allows you to control the bulb status to true or false, and here we are using uh, the switch, right, that we have in our layout. Okay, and we can add a toast. So let me grab a toast from one of the activities. Okay, so this is how you control the light, and then similarly you have the brightness. So sp the seek bar. So sp brightness dot set on seek bar change listener, new on seek bar change listener. Okay, so whenever the progress has changed, you then can do something. So for that we are going to use the brightness one. So let me see where that is. There is power switch, there's work mode, there is multicolor mode, and yeah, here it is. So you can call brightness and then set the status. And okay, so control device dot brightness, and the first parameter is an int, so that is nothing but the progress itself. And next is new I result callback. So again, just light brightness change successful. But note that since this is a seek bar, you will keep dragging this thing, and it could result in multiple toes being shown. So only if there is an error, you can just print it out, and yeah, you can see the status change happening on the bulb itself. So I recommend putting a comment here rather than showing a toast. All right, so this is how you can control the brightness using the seek bar. So next we have the spinner. So sp work mode dot set on item. So here note that we have two different things. One is on click and on item click, and one is on item selected. We want to go with the on item selected listener here. So on item selected. So once it's selected, we want to check what the selected the text is, and then based on that we want to use the different light scene, right, or the work mode. So in this case, first thing is, let's actually get the selected work mode, and then what you want to do is check what the selected work mode was, right? So do that, and then we use a simple switch case, because if it is good night, actually not good night, it's work, let me see what's it is, work modes are scene, white and color, right? So scene, so in case you get scene, then we need to actually create the work mode. So for that, I'll call it a selected light mode, and by default let's set it to white. All right, and based on what is selected we need to change the selected light mode. Okay, so in this case it will be the light mode is equal to light mode dot mode, and in this you have scene, so choose that. Similarly do it for all the other cases. Okay, so once you have selected the right mode, you then need to call control device dot, you can see here there's a function called work mode, and you're going to pass the light mode, which is the selected light mode, and then new result callback, and again once the mode change is done you just need to call. Okay, so work change mode successful, and you can also call the work change mode failed as well. Okay, so similarly we are going to do it for the SP scene as well. Okay, and once that is done you just need to call SP scene dot, sorry, the control device dot scene, and it expects the selected light scene and new iResult callback. Okay, and again you can just add in a toast which says scene change successful. Okay, so this is how you can control the device, and you can see that it's actually very simple. It's just that it needs some time to actually write some code, but this is as simple as it gets. It's a simple switch case which and then you just call the appropriate functions from the Tuya SDK, and you can see how easy it is to interact with any device. All right, so we have completed this activity as well. So if you see, let's see if we missed out anything. So we completed scene work and the status itself. And one more thing which I forgot to mention is, since this device will need to discover devices on the Wi-Fi network, you will need to add some permissions, and that is, and then you add in the last permission, which is to access the network state. Okay, now note that here in the code itself we are not really checking if the Wi-Fi is on or not, and you know you can do all of that extra things like the validation of if Wi-Fi is on or not, or if the Wi-Fi status changes by adding a broadcast receiver, and all that kind of stuff you can do it. But the idea here is to demonstrate more on the smart home and the smart light application here, and on how easy it is to use Tuya IoT SDK to actually create an app like this, right? So that was the main purpose of the video, and not really to explain a fully functional app with all kinds of error checking and error handling. Right? That was not the purpose of the app. So now that we have completed it, we could actually go ahead and run the app on our phone to see if it's working fine. Okay, so when I actually run the app, I see a couple of errors. So first error is I see there is some parameter which is causing it to fail. So go over to Android manifest, and that's the beauty about Android, because it allows you to actually see where the error is, and it also provides you the solution. So here it's saying that I have set the allow backup, and because of that it's actually failing, right? So I can change that value to false, and even the support RTL to false. Okay, so that's what it's saying here. And once I replace it, let's see if things work. So let me run the app again. Okay, so you can see that finally the Gradle build is successful, and now the app is actually getting installed onto my phone. Okay guys, so when I was running it, I saw that there was an error due to which the Tuya app was actually failing on the initialization. And the reason was that when I actually pasted the metadata here and I put it inside the main activity, it should not be inside the main activity, it should rather be outside it. Okay, so it should be here inside the application but not inside the activity. Okay, so also one other thing is in main activity, go ahead and add one other line. So we forgot to add the BTN register on click listener, right? Obviously we want to go into the registration activity when the register button is clicked. So set on click listener, new on click listener, and we just want to go from this activity to the registration activity. All right, so this is one change. Okay, there's one other thing that I forgot to mention. So after this, there's also one line of code that you need to add. So go to home activity, and in home activity, once we have obtained the device, we have not set the product ID, the device ID to whatever we had obtained. So you need to do that as well. So TV device ID dot set text will be device ID, give a colon, and append it with the plus operator and pass current device bean dot dev id. Okay, and then you also have, okay, so you need to do that. And once the search is complete, right, you can just set the button text to also say stop, to say search devices, to indicate that the search has been complete, right? So it was stop devices when it was searching. Once it's complete, you call search devices, and you can also stop using the Tuya activator. You need to obviously do that as well. So Tuya activator dot stop. Okay, so once you have done that, you can now go ahead and run the app.
Okay guys, so I have the app running here. So here I have the login page. So add your country code. Since this is India, the country code is 91 here. I'm going to add my email, which is dheerajkama22 at gmail.com, and the password I'll add it as 1234567 8. Okay, and since the account is not yet created, you will see that the login fails with error saying incorrect account ID or password, right? So let's go ahead and actually register our account. So click on register, add the same details. So email as dheerajkama22 at gmail.com, and the password as 1234567 8, and click on validate. Now, once you click validate, you will see that the text view at the bottom appears and also the button appears at the bottom, right? So this is where you can enter the verification code and then click on register to register your account. Now go over to your mail and check if you have received any verification code, and since it was successful in our case, you should be seeing a mail. Okay, so I have received the verification code and it is 328714, and I'm going to add that in the app. So once you've added the registration code, click on register and you'll see that the registration is now successful. So let's go ahead and log in. I'm going to shift to my camera so that you can see what exactly is happening between the light and my phone. Okay, so once login is successful, go ahead and turn the light on and off 3 times. So once you see the light rapidly blinking, you'll know that it is now in pairing mode, and that's when you can click on search devices. You'll need to wait a moment until the device gets detected and you can see the toast. Okay, you can see that the card view is populated indicating that the device is now available. So click on the card view and the device name, you can see that it's loaded. You can click on the bulb status to turn it on and off, and also you can come below to set the brightness of the bulb itself, so you can do that as well. And finally you can also play around with the scene and the work modes. So here you can change it to casual, and you can also change it to work mode, change it to read, or you can play around with whatever brightness and you can set it to white or color work modes. Okay, so this is how you can, you know uh, easily control the different functionalities of a smart bulb. Note that these are just the functionalities for a smart bulb, but if you go over to the TUI IoT platform and for each of the devices, you will find they have a particular instruction set, and you can use that instruction set and then control the different functionalities of that smart device.
Okay, so on the cloud, go to your project and click on link devices. So in the tab here, now you'll notice that the device quantity is now 1, right? So previously it was 0 and it's now 1. Just click on that, and under device list, now you can see that the bulb that I had is now shown here. Okay, so my Wipro bulb, this is the ID, the product ID, light source, etc., and all of that is now displayed here. And just to show you one other interesting thing, which is you can just copy the device ID here, copy this and go over to virtual device, go over to APIs, and then under smart home devices management, just click on debug. It's going to take you to a new window, and under you can click on get device status. Okay, and then you can paste the device ID and you can submit the request. Okay, so when you submit the request, you are going to get a JSON response, and it is going to tell you if the bulb is on, or if what is the work mode, the current status of the bulb basically, right? So you can do that. And also if you go to device control, you can also control the device. Okay, so just add in the device ID, and you'll need to know what are the different commands. So for that, you can actually go to get the instruction set supported. So here, instruction set by attribute, get device specific specification attributes. Okay, so add that and click on submit request, and here you can see that there are a couple of functions and the data types for that. So let's say we have to uh, write a function to switch the LED on and off. You can use this switch LED function, and since it's a boolean, it can take the values of true or false. So let's control the device using that, and I'm going to put so it will be an array, and inside which it will be a JSON command. So you can see that's why it's switch LED, and then the value is true. Okay, and when you submit this request, it's going to switch the bulb on, and let's say you set this to false, it's going to set my bulb to off. Okay, So this is how you can control the bulb using the cloud as well. And note that since you are controlling the bulb from the cloud, the Android app should know about this change. And that's when you can actually make use of the listener, right? So in the listener, you can set the status when it's changed to, let's say the bulb is off now, you can then change the switch status, right? So you can do all kinds of things here. I'll leave that as an exercise for the users. So you guys can try it out, okay?
So hopefully this video was helpful and I was able to demonstrate how easy it is to use the Tuya IoT SDK to create your own app and control your smart devices. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe so that you do not miss out on our future videos. This video was powered by Tuya IoT and their motto is build the internet of things effortlessly, and that is what we witnessed today. So thank you guys for watching, and until the next video, happy learning.